My name's Liam O'Brien. I'm 24 years old from the Gold Coast and I'm a professional surfer, I suppose. Bells Beach is a pretty historic part of the surfing world. The area, Torquay, is essentially the birth of the modern surf industry. It's where brands like Quicksilver and Rip Curl were founded. And yeah, as for the wave, it's just a beautiful open ocean right-hander. On its day, it can be really, really fun. Good for doing like sort of big carving manoeuvres. I always enjoy coming here. I've actually got some family that live in Victoria, so I've come down to Victoria a lot throughout my life. So this year, every event I've stayed with my friend Nick Coakley, coming along to the events and filming, which has been really helpful. Matt McGilvray, fellow competitor, and Sophie McCulloch, who also is a competitor, and my girlfriend. So it's been a really cool support crew. They're just, everyone, all of those guys are just really good friends of mine, so it's nice to just be surrounded with some friends and people you feel comfortable with, I feel like. It's always fun and always pretty light. It's not too serious, so yeah, it's good fun traveling with those guys. Wow, Winky's fun, look at these waves.
I think it's like pretty slow, but then it sets when it comes.
Maddie's first surf ever.
Try from a drift or a spin backwards into that. It's gnarly, but would the judges pay that?
I've actually had my lifelong coach, Jay Bottle Thompson, down here helping me, which has been pretty cool. He can't stay for the event, but he's just come down for the like the lead up to the event to help just make sure that I've got all my equipment sorted out, that I'm confident with the lineup and knowing what waves I'm going to choose in my heat and where to sit and all that sort of stuff. I've got a guy named Brett Stevens, his nickname's Moose, and he helps me out with a bit of mental coaching, I guess.
Yeah, my name's Brett Stevens, aka Moose, so everyone calls me Moose. No one actually really knows my real name. I'm a former athlete, AFL footballer, who for the last 30 years has been helping other athletes get a better understanding of what it is to be the best competitor they can be.
So the WSL is Professional Surfing Federation. They run a tour which is called the Championship Tour, and that consists of 32 men and 16 women, if I'm not mistaken. They have 10 events throughout the year, but after the first 5 events they have a cut where 10 men and 6 women, I think, fall off tour. And yeah, you don't make as much money on the Challenger Series, so everybody wants to be on the World Tour, on the Championship Tour. I haven't even looked too closely, but I believe I'm currently ranked equal 12th, which I'm pretty happy with. I'm in a better position this year than last year, which is good, but I'm not safe from the cut at this point. So yeah, still some work to do.
Mate, there's no professional sport in the world that after 5 events, they take out 10 of their best athletes and lower them into another league. It's probably the most unfair thing in professional sport. in any professional sport ever?
Yeah, as an athlete, I don't know, I mean, the cut's pretty rough. You spend your whole life, a lot of people spend their whole lives just trying to get onto the championship tour, only to be cut off in 5 events is pretty brutal. So it is a bit of a shame, but with that said, I think it's here to stay, you know, and just deal with it as best you can. Treat it as another big challenge that you're looking forward to taking on.
It's a massive mentally draining and physically draining.
Yeah.
Because you're going for the whole year then, not just for... It's mentally and physically draining for me, so... Oh, what about me?
Having your family around is obviously it's amazing, and it's really cool to have their support, but it can be a bit of a source of pressure as well, because I don't know, you don't want to just lose in front of them and look like an idiot. I essentially just go to the beach each day, try and surf the wave on high tide, low tide, mid tide in the beginning, and then ride my different boards that I've got, figure out which one goes best, and then from there, once the heat draw comes out, I'll try and surf the wave around the time that my heat will be. Think about what might happen during the heat and some strategies I might need to use.
Because I think a lot of people listening might go, oh well, I've already had another infection.
Yeah, before my heats I like to just be in my own space. I don't really like to talk too much. I'll put some headphones on and just listen to some music, watch the waves, and I suppose just sort of talk myself through what I'm going to do. It sounds a bit corny, but that just seems to work best for me.
Straight up in blue, Limo Brien. Straight into it. Big heavy back for Larry. Keeps all his speed down the line. Great styling pocket whip there. So Robbie off and running to try and join the dots here on the inside. And find a couple of little cheeky sections to rip into. Work it over. And there it is, big finish on the inside. Gabriel Medina in the red. Flying over the roof, gets it out, throws it up, cracks a nice turn in the left. Driving off the bottom, throws it up. Distance to that deck section, and climbs up another nice turn. Section ahead of this, throws it up, cracks that one in the left. You can get back onto some clean faces, there it is, just swoops back towards the white water. Oh, look at this section. Bang, hits the first one. Look at it bowl out, he fades and smacks it again up into the pocket. Another big step here, just racing off the bottom. He's fully on edge and another huge one. There you go. There he's Liam O'Brien up and running in the blue. Slices that turn out of the top. And again, another nice tight arc carving turn. Back towards the source, feeding some speed up. And yeah, one to finish.
Brother, good job. How are you? Good try. Oh, there we go. That's actually not too bad. Oh, the thing at the end.
Yeah, but it was so tough that bit at the end.
Yeah, it was just wobbling.
Yeah, no, you should be really proud of that. It was so good, mate.
Cheers, Mercy.
Competing in Australia, obviously, it's my home country. Even though it's not my home, I live on the Gold Coast, here in Bells Beach and in Margaret River too. I've got a lot of friends, feel very comfortable in the area. Definitely fills you with a lot of pride when you compete and you get to represent your country in your own country. I mean, depending on how you look at it, it either gives you extra motivation or it could be an extra source of pressure. Morning of the event, you're always nervous, and that only intensifies as your heat draws closer. So yeah, I'll definitely get nervous, but I think that's a good thing almost. It means you care, and it means you want to be there and you want to do well. I think one thing that happened in that event was that I felt like I clicked with my surfing and my surfboards. Especially since Portugal, I didn't feel that good over there. I got sick, kind of got a little bit injured, and didn't really get the result or the momentum I wanted there. So coming to Bells, it was nice to start to feel like I was surfing the way I wanted to surf, and that my boards were feeling how I wanted them to as well.
Then you went there.
That was the biggest set of the
heat. I thought they might have given him a bit more love on his last one.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking.
Yeah, I managed to get through, which was good. You having fun down here? That's good. Have a good day. I'm just thinking, I think I might just get in my wetsuit and just go and like warm up on the beach. And then if it's on, then I'll paddle out in my rashy. Catch one wave before it starts. I don't want to come in and then get cold.
Yeah. You cast up today, Morgs. Oh. Here we go. Let's go, Lobby. Let's Lobby. Come on, Lobby.
Yeah, so Bells, I ended up losing to Ethan Ewing, who was in fine form, as he always tends to be. he's pretty hard to beat. But yeah, I love matching up with him because he's such a good surfer, someone that I idolise and who I really appreciate watching. And yeah, it was a good heat. I think I was just on the slightly smaller waves, which held my scores back a little bit. But I was happy with the surfing I did. I felt like I surfed probably as well as I could have surfed out there. But yeah, against Ethan, it wasn't enough, unfortunately. I finished 9th place in the end, which was good for me to try and secure my spot on tour, make the cut. Going into that event, I was definitely a little bit stressed about the cut. Even though I was sitting in a good position, I could see that the points were going to go pretty high this year, given that a lot of different people had really good results. So I knew that I needed to do well, and then even after getting a 9th, I still need to do better here to secure the spot.
The waves I got that had good shape were just small, and every big one I got was just so hard to surf.
Mate, you surfed that so well. That's the heat of the day.
Cheers, Wes.
So since Bells, fast forward to the Margaret River event. Yeah, Margaret River region is beautiful. A lot of wineries, a lot of raw nature. I think it's just quintessential Australia. There's a lot of wildlife, gum trees. Surfers Point is a pretty cool wave. It's a peak, a left and a right, which is always good. You know, it's nice to have that option in the lineup where you can go both ways. But the right's primarily what everybody surfs due to it being a little bit steeper than the left. There's a bit more scoring potential on it. But yeah, it's a pretty open ocean wave. Catches a lot of swell, handles big swell. Pretty much likes any swell direction. All you need is just some offshore wind or some light wind, and it's pretty good. And yeah, to score out there in a heat, usually you're looking at 2-3 turns, and yeah, big calves, big snaps, and then just trying to hang on to that end section is often pretty crucial across the dry reef, which seems to catch a lot of people out. So Yeah, it's a cool wave, a lot of good fun to surf, and for me personally, I really enjoy surfing it. I seem to just click with the sport, seems to suit my style, which is handy.
Yeah, I feel like they're harder to like, they can make it a man-on-man battle sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes the first half you don't sit there. Yeah, for 20 minutes, pretty much.
And then, unfortunately, in the second round, I matched up against my good friend Jacob, and that was pretty tough because I knew that heat meant he needed to make that heat and more to secure his spot on tour for the back half, make the cut. And for me, I needed to make that heat to guarantee myself on tour. I knew that if I made that, I was guaranteed.
Yeah, it's not the situation you want. You know, they're both here for one reason, and that's, you know, to try and win the event. But obviously Jacob had more consequences than Liam going into that heat.
So that was a really tough one for me because I have a lot of respect for him as a surfer and a human, and of course as a friend. And yeah, to be honest, I felt a little bit confused, even just a little bit like sick about the experience, about the heat.
Basically, I said to both of them, you know, and especially to Liam, I said, you can't compromise your professionalism. You have to go out and give your best, and Jacob wouldn't want you to compromise anyway.
But I did know that I had to go and surf as good as I could. You know, I couldn't just give him the heat because it would sort of defeat the whole purpose of the sport. Unfortunately for Jacob, he didn't get the win in the end, which meant that he was cut, and I felt pretty terrible. You know, it's one of those heats where, a rare heat actually, where you make the heat and you feel shit. I was just like, fuck.
So Liam O'Brien getting over the top of Jacob Wilcox.
Then across from Margs is the Box, which is a pretty notorious slab, heavy, shallow water wave. And yeah, a lot of people surf it all the time. All the photographers are out there trying to get the best shot. It's really cool. You can get quite a square barrel, even though the wave isn't extremely big, it's still really round and thick. Very dangerous wave at the Box too. Obviously really shallow water, heavy wave, comes out of deep water onto a shallow slab. So gets quite round, tricky to ride, and high stakes. If you fall off, you can get pretty hurt out there. So definitely gets the heart pumping out there. I've definitely pulled back on a few this trip. But no, it's a good fun wave, but yeah, high stakes, but often that's what makes the thrill as well. So yeah, sometimes you pay the price, but sometimes you get a good reward and get a good barrel too. The Box is pretty unique for its really fast takeoff. You got to get to your feet quick, and you got to get your line right, and some waves you just can't even make. So it's kind of tricky to negotiate that first takeoff, and then even the steps in the barrel are pretty tricky to ride as well. But that's also the source of the fun out there, you know, trying to figure it out, trying to make the drop, and then hopefully get a good barrel and make it out to the channel. Yeah, so this event, Margaret River CT, I got knocked in round 16, so I got like an equal 9th. I came up against another good friend of mine, George Pitter, in the round of 16, and pretty much got smoked. He got a 9 and a high 6, nearly a 7 or something like that. But yeah, it was a really slow heat. I made a bit of a wave selection mistake in the beginning and took a pretty mediocre wave that I didn't get a score on, and right behind that wave was George's 9. Which kind of sucked. I had to watch him rip the crap out of that one right behind me. And then yeah, it was quite a slow heat, and you know, at that point, once he'd had a 9, I had priority again, and I was kind of forced just to try and wait for at least an 8 or an excellent score.
The biggest challenge is the conditions. You know, it's tough to watch heats where they're slow and not everyone gets a great opportunity to surf a lot of waves. Look, sometimes you fall on the wrong side with the conditions. Sometimes it's your turn to get favourable call. I think that's probably the most frustrating thing.
A wave came that was kind of looking like it could go there, but yeah, it wasn't the best wave ever. I ended up getting like a 6.67 or something like that. But it was a good fun heat either way, even though it was slow, and it was cool to see George go on from that heat to make a semi-final as a wild card. So yeah, it was really cool to see him do that, and I think he'll be someone to look out for in the future.
Pointing to not get the heat, but you know, you should, if you're looking at the big picture and you're looking at what you've done so far this year, you should be pumped.
But yeah, even with that result, I was obviously bummed to not go further into the event, but even with that, I managed to end up in the top 10, in 10th place, just in the top 10. And yeah, I'm really proud of that. That's as high as I've ever been on the ratings this far into the year. And yeah, happy with that, sitting there in 10th going into the back half of the year, and hopefully I can keep improving and keep learning each event, and maybe even challenge for the top 5 in the end.